Hi, everyone. Joining us once again on This is the Day is Father Christopher Hartley, who's the subject of this book, Slaves in Paradise, which is written by Jesus Garcia. It chronicles the advocacy of Father Hartley for sugarcane workers in the Dominican Republic. His ministry was also the subject of a documentary called The Price of Sugar, and we're happy to have Father Hartley back. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
I wanted to start off by talking a little bit. I know you've worked with Mother Teresa. I wanted to talk to you about your work with her and how that inspired you in your work in the Dominican Republic.
I entered the seminary very young when I was 15, and it was a great privilege when I was 18, still a seminarian, to have met Mother Teresa. And meeting that woman absolutely changed my life. That afternoon that I met her, I realized that what she was doing is the kind of priest that I wanted to do, without having very much an idea of how, when. And when it came for the time of ordination, she requested that I would come to serve as a priest in New York to work with the Hispanic population speaking English and Spanish. Her determination, her capacity to recognize the presence of Christ in the poorest of the poor was an absolutely determinant factor in my decision, in my vocation, in my calling. The day I met her when I was 18, she said two things to me. She said, "Be holy and love the poor." And to this day, from 18 to 58 I am today, I can still repeat those words with the same freshness. They're so carved and drilled in my brain, is what this woman said to me. This is what you have to be for Christ. This is what you have to be for the church. She was so determined. She was so single-minded. There was nothing in this world that ever mattered to her than to bring Jesus Christ to the furthest corners of the world. The quintessence of what a true missionary was. Yeah. And I very modestly tried to walk in her footsteps. The incredible thing is that Mother Teresa died the same day that I arrived in these sugarcane fields. Oh, wow. At the beginning of September, early September. And she was definitely an inspiration, a true mother to me. She actually gave me my chalice on the day of my ordination. It was a great blessing to have known her for at least 20 years. When I was pastor of St. Patrick's Old Cathedral, her novices came from California to profess their vows in my parish, so it was a great honor to have her and to have her sisters in my parish in St. Patrick's. I remember her someone who was going to absolutely drop dead with her sandals on, on her way to somewhere.
Yeah. And we talked a little last time about some of the conditions that the Haitian workers were living into. And I wanted to talk about, people here in the United States. We have sugar on the table. Yeah. Sugar is a major commodity here. How do us learn about the plight of workers that are involved in this, and how to sort of get in tune with what's going on?
It's a great question, because many people don't realize that if Christopher Columbus had not brought sugarcane to the Americas during his second voyage, 2 million slaves would not have been smuggled into the American continent from West Africa from the 16th, 17th century all the way up to almost the 19th century. Sugar was in the 18th century what the commodity that oil is today in our modern day. It was the commodity that moved the economy. And unfortunately, those men who centuries ago lived in squalor, lived in indented servitude, who lived in real slavery, continue to live in those conditions, because many people don't pay any attention to their plight. The Dominican Republic is the largest exporter of sugar in the whole world into the United States, 200,000 metric tons. A Haitian said to me once, "Father, say when you travel that in your country sugar is white, but here it is red of our blood. And in your country it is sweet, but here sugar is very bitter." And that, I think, in one sentence defines the horrendous living and working conditions of these people, who have been completely neglected and abandoned, and very sadly reduced to real modern day slavery. Until, fortunately, I had the opportunity to be there. Other wonderful priests, like my friend Father Pierre Ricoeur, who's from Belgium, who spent 25 years on the other side of the island, also in sugarcane fields, also expelled from the island, just like myself. And unfortunately, in the hands of three families, the power that the Fanjul brothers, Pepe and Alfie Fanjul, have in the United States is absolutely unimaginable. The access that they have to power, the access that they have to Congress, the farm bill in the United States is really thanks to them to protect their financial interests. And if the American taxpayer realized that all of this, it's a heavily subsidized industry because it's paid by the American taxpayer who doesn't realize at what price they put sugar in the coffee every morning.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we're running out of time, Father, but I just wanted to touch on, too, I know your ministry now takes you to Ethiopia.
That's correct.
Maybe just quickly tell us a little bit about that.
I've always wanted to be a missionary. That's why I ended up in the Dominican Republic. And when I was expelled, I was unemployed. So I offered myself to the Missionaries of Charity, Mother Teresa Sisters, and to her Superior General. And she invited me to Ethiopia to open a mission where never the gospel had been preached, the sacrament celebrated. This is on the border with Somalia, southeastern part of the country. And there I've been stationed since 2007. For the first 7 years, I celebrated Mass every day alone. The Lord be with you and also with you and with your spirit, all by myself. And when I gave the sign of peace, I looked out of the window, I said, "Peace with you, Somalia," literally. And gradually some volunteers and some help has been coming. Hopefully very soon another diocesan priest will come to join me from Spain. This is what is called in the church first evangelization. Is where the gospel has never been preached, where the sacraments have never been celebrated. And I live in a diocese which is the size of Italy, with 9 million Muslims, 600,000 Orthodox, and 21 Catholics. My nearest Catholic priest is about 600 miles from where I am. The bishop lives about 1,000 miles from where I am. So it's I ask people's prayers for such a mission. But before I end, I cannot conclude without saying how grateful I am to His Eminence, Cardinal O'Malley, for writing the preface of this book. He's a dear, dear friend, and it's been such a great honor to count him as a friend and to have graced us with the very kind words that he writes in the preface. It means a lot to me as a little priest in an unknown mission in an unknown country. As you all know, and listeners and viewers know, His Eminence is absolutely fluent in Spanish and in Creole. So he is very committed to this cause. But the fact that he wrote the preface of this book is such a statement for the Dominican government and even for the Dominican Church. But who would dare question His Eminence for doing what he did? But he knew much better than any of us here what he was doing when he wrote the preface of this book.
And where can people get this
It's
book?
published by Ignatius Press. It's very easily accessible through the internet, through Amazon, and I think that would be the easiest way to have access to the book.
Oh, we thank you so much. Slaves in Paradise is the book, and thank you so much, Father, for being with us, and blessings on your ministry in Ethiopia.
Thank you. I ask everybody's prayers.
Definitely. We're going to take, actually, let's go back now to the rest of This Is the Day.